My father's art was called Jeet Kune Do. Essentially, in the mid-60s, when my dad came over from Hong Kong, all of the different styles of martial arts were very much unto themselves, and there wasn't any kind of transfer of information going on between different arts. And in fact, when my dad first started teaching in San Francisco in the early 60s to white people, he came under a great degree of criticism from the Chinese community there in San Francisco. That's how ossified they were. And what my dad did is he took and combined what he considered to be the best from the different techniques that he had studied and added along with those techniques some things that were essentially his own to create the art that he called Jeet Kune Do. I started training with my dad really as soon as I could walk. I mean, my dad was a really diligent trainer. He always had people over at the house practicing, friends and students, and that was just how we played at my house. When we appeared on the talk show, my father was going to present me to the Hong Kong audience, basically, and he was going to hold a board for me, and I was going to break it with sidekicks. So, you know, being Bruce Lee's son and going on this talk show, I was about 5. There was obviously some pressure to break this board, which I did, and everything was fine.
各位觀眾，飲譽影壇嘅武俠明星李小龍突然逝世嘅消息轟動本港各界人士。李小龍成為本港著名武俠明星之前，喺國際影壇曾經演過幾套片集，例如《盲人追兇》同《青蜂俠》等。
You know, I was only 8.5 when my dad passed away, so we did a lot of things together. We just didn't have a lot of time to do them. We came over to the United States after my father passed away, and I started going to these different schools.
From Hong Kong?
From Hong Kong, yeah. And, yeah, generally there would be 2 or 3 people at each new school I would have to kick the living hell out of, you know. And then after that, things kind of calmed down. By the time I got into high school, I really didn't have that problem anymore. Yeah, the last time they kicked me out, what did they write on the piece of paper? It said, that I had a bad attitude towards the educational process and was a poisonous influence upon the minds of my fellow students. So now I get to be on television and be a poisonous influence to the minds of everyone who watches.
You're dead in 3 seconds.
Well, I did this film in Hong Kong, and see, Hong Kong filmmaking is a whole different ball game than American filmmaking. It's fun, you know? I mean, to a certain extent, it's playing games. You get the chance to do things that, you know, when you were kids, that's how you did things, right? You set up situations and then you pretended you were in them, and I don't know, it's fun.
Did you worry? I mean, when did you decide to become an actor? When did you decide that was what you wanted to do?
It's what I wanted to do since I was very young. I went to college and studied theater, and when I got out of college, I went to New York and enrolled in a theater group there called the American New Theater, did some stage work, and I'm in a theater group now in Los Angeles called Legal Aliens. And it's a good way of life. I'm getting the chance now to actually get paid for what I've wanted to do for most of my life.
Okay, along with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal, my next guest is one of a new generation of action-adventure heroes. Please welcome Brandon Lee.
Hey, Jack, come on.
Showdown in Little Tokyo, in which he plays a high-kicking police detective, is Brandon Lee's American feature film debut.
I just wanted to wait until I felt I was ready. I've been doing this for almost 6 years now, earning a living as an actor. I always wanted to go into films. I didn't really plan necessarily on going into martial arts films, and this film, Rapid Fire, is my first time out of the box in a leading role. It all. Go off you this time. It's really fulfilling to sit home, make something up, work it, rehearse it, shoot it, and then see it come to the screen pretty much full-blown from the way you had dreamed it up at home. Rapid Fire was the first film that I starred in America. And it was the first film that I am getting credit for doing the choreography on. And all the way through the entire production, I felt like somebody from 20th Century Fox, some suit, was going to walk onto the set, and they could either have said, this is the worst film that anyone has ever made, and we're going to shut down production, or they could have said, this is the best film we've ever seen, here's $1 million, and I would have been, equally nonplussed either way, because that's how I had no idea what was going on. I just show up every day and try and do the best job I could, and then go home every day and go, oh God, I'm never going to work again, ever, so. The next movie is called The Crow. It's about love, death, revenge, Edgar Allan Poe, and coming back from the dead. It's based on an underground comic book, a graphic novella by a guy named James O'Barr that's called The Crow. And it's a story of a rock and roll musician and his fiancée who are brutally murdered in Detroit. If someone were to step in and analyze this guy at a certain point in the film, I'm not sure he's always entirely sane, I mean, he's going through some pretty wild shit.
Yeah, I'd say.
I don't know if I was destined to play this role, but I feel very fortunate to be doing so. This is the best role that I've had the opportunity to get my hands on in film. It's always really great to do something that you haven't done before, and it's always really great to do something that you didn't think you can do. And I think that the feeling that you get when you do that, namely something, when you trod on ground you have yet to step on, the feeling that you get when you do that is worth whatever kind of behavior you need to do to get it, It's cold. We were shooting during the blizzard of '93.
It was like nothing residents of Hatteras Island can remember seeing, a storm blowing off the Sound with the fury of the ocean. Today, Hatteras Island is a mess. When the Sound washed over, it tossed campers and cars like so many matchbook toys. Scores were ruined, and it was easy to find boats where boats should not have been found.
I was outdoors with no shirt and no shoes on, and it was 5 degrees outside in the rain.
Year-old Brandon Lee was killed during a movie set accident today. He was filming a scene for the movie The Crow when he was hit by a projectile fired from a gun loaded with blanks.